Hey, it's Sittin or Startin with Tony Martin, who I just realized I forgot to put on camera. So let's do it.
I love that for me.
Yeah, so
It's
good.
still week four. Week four, baby. We're ready to go. Life is good. It's gonna be a good good week. I really like this week. Um, so you were saying you already got the inactives and actives pulled up. What any big names?
Uh, Big names that are going to start is Alvin Kamara.
He's in. Okay.
There you are.
Hello.
Now let's make you look just right. Jeff Crisco is at the game today, so we are honored.
Or as we like to say, he's on assignment.
Oh yeah, he's on assignment. Yeah, like yesterday we said Waleed was on assignment, and that assignment
Yeah.
was just praying to the porcelain god.
Yes. Being sick.
Is he better? Have you heard?
I have not heard. I'm assuming uh, as soon as the games kick off, I think we'll have a pretty good idea because Waleed will have rapid fire takes to shoot off.
So Waleed's like an NFL player in that regard. We don't know his
Yes,
active status.
they're gonna fill him full of Toradol and send his ass to his couch so he can watch all the football games.
Oh wait, I don't have you. Hold on.
I know Joe Mixon is out today,
Yeah, just caught that.
but I don't know. I don't think you're starting anyone in Houston unless it's dangerous. I mean, you got Cam Akers. I think Cam Akers is fine as like a last minute fill in if he's on your waiver wire.
In my big money league, I have to roll out Dare Agumbawale.
That's not good.
No, well I have Tyreek Hill, Justin Jefferson, and Nico Collins, so it has potential.
Okay,
And
yeah. I mean, when you got those guys, I am excited to see how many Roshan Johnson questions we're gonna get today.
oh yeah,
I mean, he's gonna have opportunity going against a bad defense, but not inspired. I'm gonna be choosing if it's someone that's top 30. I'm most likely gonna go with them over Roshan. We have I have Walker's ranks. Um, Walker has him at RB 50, which I think is a little too low, but I don't come into Walker's job and tell them how to do what they got to do, so I accept him.
nice. I'm just promoting this now. I, I just earlier I was like, why do I have two windows with Twitter open? I should have none, and I closed them both. But those were where I was promoting the show. So now I have
Sure.
to promote.
I have a couple of sit starts I'm worried about, but it's one of
Who?
those like all my running backs are wrecked, but my wide receiver room is awesome. I have two wide receivers and two flexes that I can start, and I have to pick four of Amon Ra, Nico Collins, Drake London, Chris Godwin, and Deontay Johnson. Good
Where
problem to have.
where are you leaning?
I'm gonna go. It pretty much came down to because I don't think you can bench Chris Godwin right now. So I'm going with. I'm keeping Deontay on my bench. So it was between Drake London and Deontay Johnson, and I'm gonna go Drake London.
Isn't Godwin the number one wide receiver
Sure
in
is.
most formats?
Sure is. You know, when a new offensive coordinator comes to a team and says we're gonna give Chris Godwin the Cooper Cup role, you should probably listen.
Just finishing up here.
God,
Last
that's
week
good.
we got a lot of randos from the internet in here. It was great.
I love it.
Bunch of last minute guys. It
It's
was
so
the most unique users we've had outside of a farce ball.
it's so funny because 99% of the time when you're on the internet, getting feedback from strangers is the worst way to go about doing things.
Yeah.
And yet, here we're celebrating. I love it. I love it for us. Let's see. I'm sure official inactives and actives will be popping out soon.
Oh, inactives are in our YouTube
Our description.
description too. Yeah, but I'll keep an
Cool.
eye out for the official ones to make sure that I got some inside info on a few guys.
Okay. Love to
Yeah,
see it.
by searching Twitter.
Oh, Nick Chubb expected to return to practice this week.
Yeah, that's exciting. Do you have any Chubb shares?
I have a lot of Chubb in best ball actually.
All right.
I have a lot of best ball Chubb. I ended up saving a lot of my IR spots for Jonathan Brooks, Carolina.
Oh yeah,
But I have there
same
was a
same.
couple leagues where I just went, hey, I'm gonna really kind of suck the first 4 weeks. Threw in some like Zach Mosses and Jalen Warrens, and then have Chubb, T.J. Hawkinson, and Jonathan Brooks just waiting in the wings. Because I mean, with all the injuries we've had right now, what are we worried about?
Yeah,
It's
I'm
it's
starting
a
Daria
bloodbath,
Gumbawale, and he was literally the best
right?
option.
Well, not only is it a bloodbath, but like people are starting players that are not good, and we haven't even hit the buys yet. Think about how ugly it's going to be in 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
Don't the buys start next week?
They do.
That's dumb.
They really got to add another week onto this freaking season.
Yeah, then we have Super Bowl before President's Day. It's
Yeah, and
perfect,
you and I, that would benefit us specifically.
especially you because you're an central guy. My Super Bowl ends at like 7:30 here, so it's all right.
Sure. Let's see. Where are bye week? All right. So, well, okay. Here's the struggle. Week 5 and 6, we each week has 4 teams on bye.
Let's pull
Next
that up.
week, next week we will be missing the Lions, the Chargers, the Eagles, and the Titans. But I think the real week 6 is going to be nasty. Not only do we have a London game, Jacksonville and Chicago in London, but Chiefs, Rams, Dolphins, Vikings, week 7. That's wow.
Sadly, that'll give Tua the time he needs to return
Yeah,
to the football field.
that's true.
Unfortunately
He
for
should
him,
not play football again.
he should not. Agreed.
That that's you spend so much time working with brains, and then you're like, wait, don't do that to your brain.
Yeah,
Not good. Clyde Edwards Alaire expected to return to practice this week.
I forgot he existed.
See, 30 minutes ago, Chris Olave active, and that's a big one. Chris Olave's got a real nice matchup this week. Really like Chris Olave.
He is active, according to somebody on Twitter.
Yeah, I see Nick Underhill from NewOrleansFootball.com. Um, yeah, Chris Olave got a great matchup this week against the cover 3 defense of the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah.
That's a big one. I really like that one. Deku's here. Happy good afternoon.
Hey, Deku.
It's 10:30 a.m. by me. It's 8:30 a.m. by Evan. We're ready to rock. I'm ready to do something, that's for sure. We've got a lot of. This is a good week, and like I said, this is our last week before the buys hit. I'm not excited. My big money league where I'm floundering. I'll be losing my quarterback and wide receiver one next week with Goff and Amon Ra.
Although it's come at the right time for some teams, like the Philadelphia Eagles need a bye, like now,
Yes,
yesterday.
yes, yes. Get
So
your shit together.
that's decent.
Uh, it's so funny because 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 3, 4. Week 12 and 14 each have 6 teams on bye, which is a nightmare. Got some other news 1 minute ago. Chris Owens is citing. Oh, sorry, no. NFL Network's Ian Rappaport reporting Drake May is, quote, still a ways away from starting for the Patriots.
Um, okay.
Not good.
Not holding my breath.
You
When did they
shouldn't.
draft him?
Third overall.
What the? This is shaping up to be a kind of a sloppy draft class. With JJM being
Yep.
out for the year.
Caleb with the slow start. Um, Odell Beckham set to return to practice this week.
For who?
The Miami Dolphins.
Okay. Decky wants to know Calvin Ridley or Deontay Johnson.
All right, so I'm going with Deontay because I want you to know. So last week, I want to give you some confidence here. Last week, the Cincinnati defense was the sixth worst defensive performance of the year by all teams in terms of pressure generated. And when Deontay Johnson's quarterbacks are not pressured in his career, he has a 91% increase in his targets per route run, a 131% increase in his fantasy points per route run, and a 103 increase in his yards per route run. This
Wow.
is the Deontay hype is real this week. Um, if you think, because here's the deal, this game has shootout potential written all over it. The Cincinnati Bengals are leading the league in pass rate over expectations, so I'm thinking they're going to be throwing a lot. Carolina can't stop shit, so they're going to be needing to keep up. So I think Deontay is going to get rocked with targets.
Awesome
Um,
insight.
yeah,
And
I'll
then,
say this too. In between weeks 1 and 2, Bryce Young had 38 catchable targets. In week 3, Andy Dalton had 29 catchable targets. So we are going to see scoring, I believe.
all right. There's a new segment we do where I go to our Discord and I take a poll that had a unanimous answer. Everyone answered the same. And
Okay.
I ask you, or Jeff usually, but you. Okay, standard scoring. Tyreek Hill versus Tennessee or Roma Duns versus the Rams?
So no points per reception.
Yeah, I guess so.
I mean, you got to go Tyreek. Just you have to play Tyreek Hill. You just have to.
All five people said Tyreek Hill.
Otherwise, you're getting cute with it. You can't get cute with it.
Now, Decky, who's been sold by your Deontay Johnson sermon, is wondering if they should start Amari Cooper or Calvin Ridley for their third spot.
So, you know what? I'm gonna be real with you. Like, hate the Browns, hate Deshaun Watson. He's the bad man. I don't want to really even acknowledge it. But at the same time, like, we have to acknowledge that Cooper is getting just absolutely seasoned with targets. I hate saying just peppered because there's so many seasonings that get neglected in this conversation. Um, and I'm gonna be real with you, like, even though they weren't connecting early in the season, they've been throwing to Cooper extensively. I mean, he's still one of the top leaders in targets, air yards, all that kind of stuff. The Deshaun Watson leads the league in drop back attempts, so they're going to be throwing the ball. Um, all of a sudden, last week, Calvin Ridley became an afterthought, and it became the D Hop show. And I think he had like an 8% target share last week. Calvin's way more boom bust. I want the guy that's going to get 12 targets, so I would roll with Cooper there.
Especially in your for your third spot. You just want points, you just want production.
Yeah, yeah.
I could start Javante Williams instead of Dario Ogunbowale.
I'd probably do that.
Yeah. And by doing this, I make the universe promote Dario Ogunbowale, who's awesome. So
I was gonna say
doing
you
my
could do
part.
worse. You could do worse. I just want to wrap up. I have my some of my boom plays ready to go. Um, my boom plays of the week.
No, and I should
Got
double check the inactives here. Make sure
do
my
that
intel is right.
while I do this.
Not, they haven't updated anything yet. Interesting. You are welcome, Decky. Thanks for coming out.
Yeah, we
Um,
got you, homie. You're the best.
keep popping out of frame here. Nobody knows yet.
What does underdog want from me? That's true. They do want my money. Deku, keep it going, man. We got all the time. Ooh, whoa. Jair Alexander out for the Packers. Uh, I know many people were on the fence about starting Justin Jefferson, but I'm going to go ahead and upgrade him to a full start this week.
You heard it here, folks. Justin Jefferson
Bold,
is a start.
bold. Okay, so Ty Chandler and Roshan Johnson, and this is full PPR, I'm assuming, and I'll hang up and wait.
Doesn't Deku do standard? They don't know what PPR is in Scotland.
Ah, that's
Well, while we wait, I can give you another unanimous poll and
do it.
see if you agree or disagree. Jeff disagreed one time. It's cool. Half PPR. James Cook versus Baltimore. Josh Jacobs versus Minnesota.
You got to go James Cook.
All four people said James Cook.
Yep, got to go James Cook.
So, oh yes, 16 team league standard scoring.
Good God. Um, I mean, here's our first Roshan Johnson question of the week, right? Um, I'm going Roshan over Ty Chandler just because I think he's going to have more opportunity, and I think there's a chance that he falls into the end zone.
Great.
But
And
I'm going to be real with you. Like I said, it's a coin flip. I don't think you're screwed either way. Okay, and then a question for from Connor
sup, Connor?
is 1 and 2 going up against the Juggernaut. Bench one in standard. Tyreek, Juwan Jennings, Odunze. You're benching Juwan Jennings. It's all about Tyreek and Rome. Like it's the old axiom, the old football absurdity axiom that you guys taught me that really changed the way I focused on things. Who are you going to be more upset when they go off on your bench? And that to me is if I benched Rome Odunze or Tyreek Hill and they went off, I'd be pissed. Juwan Jennings' value is as a reception guy, as a mid-range possession guy, and in a standard league, like give me the boom plays, give me the big plays, and Tyreek and Odunze are the guys that have shown that.
The Tyreek concern this week baffles me because he got an upgrade to having a quarterback.
Right,
Like
right.
it's better, and he did fine last week.
And I think people are underestimating exactly how bad Skylar Thompson is.
Yeah, yeah. I had to
And
watch Huntley all last year, and he's competent.
yeah, he's not going to blow you away. And Connor, I'll tell you this: as a longtime suffering Bears fan that's watched every damn snap of this team so far this year, the offensive line being bad is great for Romo Dunze because Caleb has to escape the pocket. And if you watch back most of Rome's big plays and even the incomplete passes that he missed, and we're talking through the preseason, those are plays where Rome sees Caleb break the pocket and just turns upfield. And if you'll watch the all 22 stuff, DJ Moore is not the guy that breaks off his route and starts streaking to the end zone. That's not his game, but that is Rome's game, and that's where you're going to get those boom plays. So the worse the Bears' offensive line is, the better your chance for a long Romo Dunze pass.
Well, that's good insight there. Sorry you had to face that reality as a Bears fan.
That's life. Hey, Tyreek Hill got 4 and 3 points the last 2 weeks. I get it. I get it. But like you gotta start him. You picked him in the first round. You gotta keep going, you know?
Yeah,
Like
don't sit your studs.
and Connor, I hope Odunze goes off so both of us are celebrating. So we have an OJ, Kenneth Walker, or Jerry Judy in half PPR. You guys, Jerry Judy, Jerry Judy's been getting 8 targets a game. What are we doing here?
Wow.
What are we doing here as a society? Um,
Promoting a C
Walker
plus wide
Kelly's
receiver.
Walker Kelly's rankings have Jerry Judy as wide receiver 50, 50, behind Greg Dortch. That should tell you a lot. So, um, as much as I think Kenneth Walker is a bad play this week against Detroit's defense, I think you put him in over Judy. Like like Walker's going to touch the ball 16 times. And as we know, Kenneth Walker's strength is breaking the long run. So, Brian Branch, there's a chance the Lions might be without their best safety. There's a chance one of those long runs hits. There's a chance one of those
That's
long
what he
runs goes.
does. Yeah.
And so when you tell me like, oh yeah, well Detroit's best defensive tackler in the secondary is out, that says to me like, well, what if he breaks that tackle and keeps going? So cheers to you, Connor. But for OJ, for you, I'm going Ken Walker. Like, even if he's limited, like we got to understand Zach Charbonnet sucks, and that pains me to say because I loved him in the pre-draft process. He cannot break tackles. He does not have explosiveness, and all the stuff that looked so good in college, he just doesn't have. So I'm going Kenneth Walker because I think if he plays, they're going with it.
You're sitting with Schultz at TE. No, roll Schultz. In my opinion, Tony might weigh differently. Houston's players are dropping like flies,
Yes,
and they got to throw it somewhere,
yes,
especially with Joe Mixon out.
and Tank Dell's out too. So it's funny because the Washington Arizona game is one of those games that I think most people are looking at and saying this is going to be a breakout for everybody. And Ertz's peripherals are actually pretty good. He's second on the team in route share, target share, air yard share. However, Arizona hasn't stopped any wide receivers, running backs, or quarterbacks, but they've managed to contain the tight end.
I'm at CBS.
And
Oh, sorry, keep going.
they shut down Parkinson against the Rams. They shut down Dalton Kincaid against the Bills. And who else did Arizona play?
And they played Pittsburgh week one, and Pittsburgh kicked 6 field goals. Was that them? Or was that Atlanta?
No.
That was Atlanta.
Let's see. I don't care about the St. Louis Cardinals. Arizona Cardinals is what I'm looking for here. The Bills, Rams, and they shut down Sam Laporta last week too. So if they can shut down Dalton Kincaid and Sam Laporta, I feel like Zach Ertz is a no go. I don't want I don't want Parkinson, Higgins, or Otten. So I would go Schultz.
What's up, HK? Set my mood. Want to know Schultz or everyone's favorite weirdo, Taysom Hill?
I'm just gonna keep going with Schultz here because I think Schultz is gonna get you 14 yards and a touchdown. Um, Last year you saw a lot of Schultz in the red zone, and this year I think those short area targets in compacted spaces are going to Stephon Diggs. But man, Jacksonville made Dalton Kincaid look like everyone was right in the offseason. So I'm going with Schultz. Taysom Hill is the problem with Taysom Hill is that like 1 or 30, man. What's he gonna do?
And both Olave and Kamara are active.
Yep. And the Saints, obviously, we all know Taysom Hill's value is on the goal line, right? Like he's a red zone guy. The Saints are missing two of their interior linemen this week, so the power the power trap that Taysom Hill runs on the goal line is going to be that much less successful this week. So give me Schultz. I think while we're here, while we're in between some questions, I'm going to share with you my Tony Martin boom plays of the week.
Great.
Ready to bring the boom here. So I'm going to start at quarterback. None of these should be huge surprises, but these are guys that you should be rolling with extreme confidence. My boom quarterback of the week is Kyler Murray. Going to hit him with the boom. There's a chance Kyler Murray's quarterback one this week, maybe quarterback two, and you're
Even with
welcome in advance.
even with McBride out.
Yep, doesn't matter. There's a chance that Greg Dortch and Michael Wilson have fantasy utility this week, as well as Marvin Harrison.
Wow.
Yep, that's hang on, I got something for you. I have just the remedy for anyone who's on the fence about that because it's comical how bad Washington's defense is, you guys. Um, Washington has allowed a top 12 quarterback finish every week this season. They are third in opposing wide receiver separation allowed. And Washington is the only team that has allowed five top 24 wide receiver weeks this season. Now, seems to me like we've only played 3 games. So, in order to have allowed five top 24 finishes, that means you've allowed multiple opposing wide receivers to finish in the top 24.
Yes.
So, give me as much Kyler Murray as humanly possible this week. For my running back boom play of the week, I'm giving a big chicken bake Costco guys level boom to Aaron Jones. Now, Aaron Jones is someone that I was very low on pre draft, and I think being able to adapt and understand that things change and that maybe I was wrong is huge. Aaron Jones has a 25% target share over the last 2 games, first in targets per route run, second in yards after contact per rush, fifth in yards per route run. He has 94 or more rushing yards in 7 of his last 8 games.
Nice. I
Yes,
also did
Deontay
not.
is active.
I also did not. Yes. Yeah, he's active.
Yes,
As
Deontay.
for, I'll get your source on that in a second.
My wide receiver boom play of the week is George Pickens of the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is a matchup that he's going to smash. He crushes cover three. He's had multiple plays called back already this year, multiple catches of over 30 yards. So he's performed, but had bad luck in terms of penalty. And so I don't think that's sticky. This, I believe, is going to be a huge George Pickens week. And also, I mean, consider that he's gone up against good cornerbacks in Atlanta, and then he went up against Patrick Sertan in week 2. Chargers game was already a blowout before they ever needed to throw deep. This is the matchup you want George Pickens in. We've been waiting for the explosion for
Fantasy
quite a while.
Pros. Fantasy Pros is the most reputable source. They have Deontay Johnson active.
Oh yeah, baby, he's in. So my boom wide receiver play of the week, George Pickens, and my boom tight end of the week is George Kittle. A couple Georges there. This
Good to know. Let's see if there's anything. We started the show early today. Thanks for showing up
we
early.
did, of course. I'm always ready to party.
I got the inactives early. Thanks to the media for actually getting that information out. Thanks to the teams, I guess, for actually getting that information to the media.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, Deontay to back up HK. Like anywhere you got Deontay, should be playing him. He should be looked at as a top 20 play this week. Let
Adam
me pull up my
Thielen was placed on IR. RIP.
who?
Adam Thielen.
Yep.
That dude's not coming back.
He's you know what? It's time for him to go to a home. I'm gonna be real.
Yeah, he's done
He
his
can
he's
go
done
hang
his
out with
service.
yeah, he can go hang out with his weird ass wife.
Oh, he has a weird wife.
Yeah, she's like super anti Tim Walls
Oh,
because he turned Minneapolis into a wasteland, which is so funny because Minneapolis is one of the most beautiful cities
it really
in
is.
North America. And at the same time, like every commenter was like, "You live in this rich ass suburb. You've never gone to Minnesota or Minneapolis." So yeah, Minneapolis, one of my favorite cities on earth. One time, my wife and I, before we were married, our bands were on tour and we played in Minnesota in I want to say very early December, and we had the first snowfall of the year up in Minnesota, and it was a wonderful experience. So I'll always have a soft spot for Minnesota.
There's a question in our Discord. Jordan Love against Minnesota. Speaking of which, or Sam Darnold at Green Bay.
Love, it's love.
Yeah,
I how much longer are we gonna play the Sam Darnold still has it in him game before it all falls apart? The Green Bay leads the league in defensive interceptions, if I recall correctly, and there's gonna be a pumpkin game. I think Jordan Love, like last year when Jordan Love played against Brian Flores' defense, he and Jaden Reed had a huge game. Um, the Flores defense is meant to throw a bunch of different looks at you and confuse the quarterback. And as much as I hate to admit it because he's a Packers player, Jordan Love is great at pre-snap processing. So, or post-snap processing. So I think a lot of what he does is uh, neutralized by a player like Jordan Love. So I expect a big Jordan Love, Jaden Reed week, as much as it pains me.
Uh, Love is officially active. Green Bay just put out their report. Anybody was
Crazy.
doubting that.
He came back pretty fast. Let's see. What do we? I'm gonna steal some starting sits too from all over
Oh,
the.
yeah,
Ooh, breaking news! Russell Wilson inactive again.
that's yeah. He lost your job, dude.
Yep. Yeah, no coach is gonna say like, "Oh, we're 3-0. All right, well, sorry, we told Russell Wilson he was going to be the starting quarterback in June, so
Yep.
Keenan Allen's in this week. A
Yep.
boost for the Bears. Um, I'm I'm lower on Cole Kmet now with Keenan Allen in for the record. Um, but
Okay. All the injury reports are out now finally, and my intel was right. That's cool. I
that's
was
awesome.
worried about having to do this with because Def usually does this. So I'm like, oh,
Sure.
can I do a normal
Luckily,
job?
luckily on Elon Musk's Twitter, where truth is protected and free speech reigns supreme,
Good lord.
there's very rarely any misinformation on there. So
Yeah. You gotta check the source.
and you know what? They only give the blue checks to reputable
Definitely.
content creators or white supremacists.
What has happened to our media, Tony?
Fairness doctrine.
God.
I just blame everything on Reagan. It's like a shorthand I've developed.
Yep.
Um, the idea that if someone has this batshit crazy idea, that it should get half the amount of time as everything else, it's just so bonkers to me.
What's going
Um,
on? What are your
24
plans?
hour
Oh, go for it.
mistake. Anyways, go on.
What are your game day plans? When's the Bears game?
Bears play at high noon Central Time. Um, so my father-in-law was in town up until this morning. So we're gonna have Ryan Edgecombe, co-host TH Fantasy, co-host Going to Gambletown. He's gonna come over. We're gonna watch the game, hang out. We'll have the Bears game on my laptop, which will be in front of us, and then we'll have Red Zone on the TV. Um, should be nice. Katie is going to take her usual Sunday bath, which is her tradition. Um, but she usually waits. She'll watch the Bears game with us. She waits for the late games usually. She's a real one. No fake fan alert. Katie, did you set your rosters? Okay, good. She's the best fantasy player in this house, by the way.
Yeah, she won last year, didn't she?
She sure did.
Uh,
She won. She won in one league and made the playoffs in the other. And then last year, or her first year, you made it to the playoffs in both leagues. So Katie is yet to know fantasy defeat. However, I will say this: this is fun. She had her first experience last week where Devin Singletary ran to the 1 yard line and fell down to take a knee to end.
oh, everyone's got to
That
have
was
one of
her,
those.
yeah, it was her first time, and like Waleed was over and Ryan was over, and we were like, "Oh, this is your first time. This is great. Like this has happened to all of us. Welcome to the club."
Have you told her the Maurice Jones-Drew story?
I did because that was in the was it the championship week or was it just the playoff week?
It was just a playoff week, but he's like, look at this. Me kneeling at the one lost me my own league.
Right, right, yeah, because he lost in his own league because he didn't
Yeah.
show up,
Uh,
which is awesome.
what was I going to say? Okay, Tony, help me out in my big money league.
Please,
Anthony Richardson or Geno
okay.
Smith?
4 or 6 point passing touchdowns.
6.
Gino.
Yeah, that's where I'm. Indianapolis center's out. I don't know what that's going to look like.
I just picked up Anthony Richardson in my big money league 'cause someone dropped him. And I'm probably going to play him next week because the Rams are out or the Lions are out. But to me, it's not that he's an inaccurate quarterback. It's that they're not letting him run.
Yeah, that's
He
exactly it.
is right. He's right now. He's tied for the most turnovers. He's last in the league in completion percentage over expected. He's worst in overall completion percentage, adjusted completion percentage, catchable throw percentage. However, first in the league in average depth of target. So when he's hitting big, but not hitting very much.
Okay, that was what I was doing and leaning, and good to hear that echoed. Plus, he's going against Pittsburgh, and their secondary looks angry.
Yep. But next week should be the salve that eases the burn because the Colts play the Jaguars next week, I believe.
Yep,
So that's the magic. Because you know what scares me most though about Richardson? He only has 72 yards rushing.
yep. Only had
Scary,
28 carries for 24 yards last week. Weird.
scary stuff for a guy that like I would hope that on the TH Fantasy podcast and all the associated football absurdity products, we're all believers in Shane Steichen as a good offensive mind. So you have to believe he's seeing this and being like, we need to make adjustments. So
Yeah,
um, I think Richardson is a guy. He's not a cut for me. He's a hold. But yeah, I'm starting Gino. Lions are
right.
giving up a ton of stuff through the air,
Yeah, and he's actually running, unlike Tony
which is
Richardson.
weird, right? But I think another thing
No,
of
never
crow that
mind. I messed up. He's not rushing.
another thing of crow that I have to eat is on DK Metcalf this year, man, because he's woo. That new offensive coordinator is like, hey, you know what we can do with DK Metcalf? We could throw it to him like closer than 30 yards downfield. We can actually throw it to him 10 yards from the line of scrimmage. And it's been working out really well. He's got over 100 yards in his last 2 weeks.
Oh my gosh. Got one for the. This one's going to be unanimous, I think. Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet, or Chris Steele.
Oh, yeah, it's Kenneth Walker.
Yeah, that's going to be unanimous. Like you
People are
said,
afraid
to reiterate, so Tony doesn't have to repeat himself. Tony pointed out earlier that the key tackler in Detroit secondary is out, and what Walker does is rip long runs. So if he gets into the secondary, there could be no one to tackle him.
Yep. And it's a tough matchup, but what makes those questions easy is, hey, do you want Kenneth Walker or Zach Charbonnet? Well, I want the starter. Thank you.
Yeah,
That just seems to me to be the
the better player.
yeah, for a reason too, right? Like Charbonnet does what he does, fine. If they like him as an ancillary piece, go off. But he's not taking he's not taking food from Kenneth Walker's family, so to speak.
Nope.
Crazy.
Just alerting the Discord. If you want like advice like this on demand, 24/7, come into the Football Absurdity Discord.
We will
Hooray!
answer all of your should I trade Brock Bowers or George Kittle questions.
Yeah. Should I drop Jonathan Brooks?
Don't ever do that. I see a lot of the thing I see a lot of in the Discord is people coming in and saying, "Okay, I've already dropped Blake Corum. Who should I pick up?" And my thought is, you had to know that he wasn't going to do anything through the first 4 weeks. And injuries, I get. You've lost AJ Brown, you lost Cooper Cup, you've lost Puka, any of that kind of stuff. I get it. You got to make room. You might have a short bench. But if you have space and you're just dropping him because he hasn't produced yet, you're doing it wrong. Jonathan Brooks, Trey Benson, rookie running backs that go in the running back dead zone statistically outperform ADP at a crazy high rate.
I made a mistake.
What's that?
I had to drop Trey Benson for because I have no running back starters, and I realize now I could have moved Joe Mixon to the IR.
Oh,
That's okay.
well,
I just nothing little
Alan-
Fab can't fix.
as Alanis Morissette once said, "You live, you learn."
Yeah, I just throw some Fab at it.
Yeah.
He's not doing anything yet that anyone's going to spend big bucks on it.
No, people are well. If Connor gets hurt in this game, he becomes
That's
pay
true. Oh God, I just willed that into the world, didn't I?
whatever's left of your fab. Um, but Evan, I think this week, James Conner is one of my favorite plays of the week. So if he comes in and crushes, you might even be able to get him for a penny. You know?
Yeah. So we'll see. Plus, I don't have any use for this Fab. You know what I mean? This is a Sharks league, so every prospect is accounted for. So I'll just toss all my Fab at him, unless if yeah, we'll see. All right.
Yeah, the expert like in our experts league, I very rarely even put in waiver claims because everyone's so on it. I wait until all the claims have been made and then I just pick up who's left.
Truth. Oh,
Ooh,
okay, I'm
we
back.
got a quarterback question here.
Oh, nice.
Derek Carr versus Atlanta, Aaron Rodgers versus Denver, Caleb Williams versus the Rams. Can I like a follow up question here? 4 or 6 point passing touchdown.
Yeah, 4 or 6 point passing touchdowns, Jason. Although I kind of have my answer.
Waleed has broken me because I don't ever want to pick Bears players. You know what I mean? Like, okay, so 4 point pass touchdowns. To me, in order, it's Caleb Carr Rogers. I
Same,
think Caleb has the best matchup this week.
same.
Um, Rams defense is a nightmare, you guys. In week one, they gave up 5 for 121 and one to JMO, 4 for 130 and two to Marvin Harrison, and 11 for 175 and three to Juwan Jennings. Rams starting cornerback Tre'Davious White leads the league in yardage allowed to opposing wide receivers with 255. Caleb's got Keenan Allen back this week. The Romo Dunze connection seems to be clicking. He's got the best matchup. I'm going Caleb Carr or Caleb Rogers. No, Caleb Carr Rogers.
Yeah, having watched a lot of Caleb, which I'm sure you've watched all of them, he's getting better. It's
Yeah,
starting to click, and and they're letting him cook.
yeah.
So it's
Also,
starting
the
to come together.
I want to talk for a minute. Like Pittsburgh's decision to make Justin Fields a pure check down Bo Nix style drop back passer is great for Justin Fields, but um, not great for fantasy. He's averaging 3 yards a rush. That's terrible. So um, Justin's going to turn into he's turned into a less dynamic player so far through the first three. We'll see how much longer that keeps up, but I want to see what Justin Fields plays like in a game where Pittsburgh's losing. They haven't really had that so far.
Yeah.
Um,
Question. Oh, go for it.
Go ahead, please.
Oh no, favorite props. That's you. You. That's important.
Well, I do have some favorite props this week. Um, my favorite player props this week are um, it's a spicy number, but I love Saquon over 75 and a half rushing yards. Another high prop that I really like is Nico Collins to go over 80 and a half receiving yards. And I like Aaron Jones over 57 and a half rushing. I don't mind an Aaron Jones rushing and receiving combined, but once you get to around 100, it's a little too rich for my blood. So I'm just sticking with the rushing revenge game here. Um, Anytime touchdowns, I really like this week. I really like Zach Moss, and we'll get tie that into to Mahmoud's comment here in a second. I really like Zach Moss to score. Kyron Williams has scored, I think, in like 7 games in a row or something like that. Uh, Kyron or Jordan Mason scoring, I think, is a good bet. and I really like Jaden Reed's receiving over, which should be floating around somewhere around 51 and a half right now. So Nico, James Conner, Aaron Jones, Kyron Williams for a touchdown, Zach Moss for a touchdown. My long shot play, I got a long shot play for you guys here, and you heard it here first when it happened. And if it doesn't happen, I never said it, and we'll scrub all of this off the internet. The Broncos, Denver, you know them. They blitz on 50% of their defensive snaps. It's a lot. And they also play the second highest rate of man coverage in the league. Aaron Rodgers versus the Blitz is averaging 8.7 yards per attempt and has a 134.5 passer rating. That's good, folks. His primary target against the Blitz is not Garrett Wilson. And this is my long shot touchdown that I really like this week. It's Alan Lazard.
What kind of
Alan
odds did you
Lazard
on
has
that?
Alan Lazard has run 25 routes against the Blitz so far this season. 5 catches, 84 yards, 3 touchdowns. So those are my plays I really like this week. You can always check out Going to Gambletown on Saturdays right here on this very channel at noon central. You can also listen to the TH Fantasy podcast, which comes out Saturday mornings on all your major podcast providers, where we do bets of the week. So we're all about these props. We talk props all day, baby.
Awesome.
Thank you for giving me the chance to expand on that, Jason. Good on you. We love you for it.
So this one I answered already in our Discord, but just so you can weigh in. Half PPR. Let's see. Terry McLaurin at Arizona or Jerome Ford at Las Vegas.
I don't mind both, but I don't play to finish third, so I'm going Terry McLaurin.
I said Ford for floor, McLaurin for ceiling.
Yeah, I think that's totally what's what the move is. Jason, I'd love to. I appreciate you asking. Um, if you ever wanna on the Discord, we have a huge degenerate gambling thread where you can always come in. We talk props, talk plays. Our guy Peaky is up from $50 to it's about 10 grand over a couple years, using all the like protected picks and freebies and free rolls. He's a really good value shopper. So there's money to be made if you want to join the FA Discord and talk gambling with us.
Getting a link in the chat soon
Look,
enough.
let's dunk on Waleed for a minute. The Chase Brown breakout. Ooh, okay, okay. One last one. Terry, Amari, or T Higgins. Full PPR or half. I'm not sure it matters. Amari's got the matchup. T. Higgins could go off at any time. Terry could go off at any time. Half PPR. I'm probably going Amari. As much as that's not my favorite play of the week. Amari, Terry, or T. I'm going to look at Walker Kelly's rankings. He has Terry at 20, Amari at 21, and T at 27. So they're all roughly in the same bucket. And I want the guy that's going to get the most targets possible. As much as we love Terry because he blew up last week, Arizona likes to let opposing slot receivers go off. So I am going with Amari and Las Vegas. My move right there.
Are you going with Amari?
Yeah.
Okay,
Spookily.
cool. Thanks for that. Shane Waldron is
So
expressing frustration with his system.
the system that he made?
Yes.
Ah, okay. Good to know. Local man mad at situation he put himself in.
Yep.
It's so funny because the Saints were considered the worst offensive line in the league by everyone before the season started. And they got a good offensive coordinator who said, I'm going to call plays that minimize my team's deficiency.
Whoa.
Shane Waldron was given a generational quarterback prospect, 3 stud receivers, and a $24 million running back, and he runs speed option on 4th and goal from the 1. So if you'll excuse me, my desire to support Shane Waldron in his time of need is very little. Call better plays, idiot.
People are overthinking their uh, Survivor leagues right now. You already overthought it by surviving week one by not picking Cincinnati. You did that thing you're supposed to do.
Which I did.
Now
Whoops.
just stay alive. Like someone's asking who's more likely to win, Jets or 49ers? And the 49ers spread is like negative 13.5 or something.
Yeah, yeah, it's a double digit. And like, I was listening to the Football Absurdity podcast, and Walker's like, "Look, New England's going to cover, but they're not going to win." And in survivor pools, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
So
Let's
yeah,
see
don't
here.
don't get cute with it.
Jets are negative 7.5.
You'll have plenty of other chances to bet against Denver.
For yeah, 49ers are 10.5. Yeah. Don't you already outthought it. Now just win.
Right. With so many upsets this year and so much chaos, survivor pools have got to be dwindling already.
How much? I haven't even looked since I lost week one. Let's see here.
Yeah, I lost week one, so I said, well, I just, if anyone asks, I didn't do any survivor leagues this year.
I don't want to play free games. ESPN, I want you to give me the information that I asked for.
ESPN's bad at that.
Everywhere's bad at that. Don't even
We
start
could
about
get a,
Google AI.
we could get a new user interface, or we could give Pat McAfee another few $1 million.
Jeez. I want a group summary, yes, but you're not. There's one person surviving. Who is it?
One person. That's
Somebody already.
awesome.
Somebody already won it. When did they win it?
Oh, that's
They
awesome.
got. They got eliminated last. Six. 5 out of 6 people got eliminated last week. Uh, Raiders, Panthers,
Oh my God.
Bengals, Commanders, Buccaneers, Broncos. Okay, who is this? Who won last week? You got to tell me who they are.
I've
Okay.
never heard of a survivor pool done by week four. That's
21
amazing.
entries, all of them out except for one.
Okay, did you hear that? The Football Absurdity Survivor Pool is already won
Yeah, I'm gonna post about that.
because everyone got something wrong. And it's only usually those go until what do you say, Evan? Like week 10, week 11?
Yeah, we've had them go into the playoffs too.
Yeah. Everyone's out and it's after 3 weeks. One person won after 3 weeks. Incredible. Truly, truly incredible stuff here.
And ESPN, in cahoots with being incredible, will not tell me who they are so I can reward them. I don't
Serves you right.
understand what the point is of having a thing that's public if you don't publicly celebrate the win.
That is correct.
Oh my God. So now I gotta do effort, go ask all the socials where I advertise this, like, would the winner step forward? Oh well, maybe I
Evan,
just won't.
I need your help here.
Okie dokie.
I need you to do me a favor, and I need you to talk me off the ledge here with Mark Andrews.
Okay, what's the specific question?
I'm 1-2 in my big money league, and at least one of my two losses would have been much closer had Mark Andrews done anything. Is is that asking too much?
I'm in Fantasy Pros and I clicked on Mark Andrews' name and the first thing that pops up is all caps. What are we doing, Baltimore?
Correct. Now I get it. He's hurt. He had tightrope surgery, the same thing that made Tony Pollard kind of butt last year,
Also,
and got in that car accident.
they lost two starting offensive linemen and Mark Andrews can block.
Yes.
So I think that's really a lot of it too.
Do you think we start to see more fantasy production?
No.
Okay,
Not against Buffalo, no.
that's fair. I'm
Yeah,
I'm
he's benchable. He's not a
I have a
must start.
I have a 5-person bench, and I'm pretty nervous about not having space for him. Obviously, you can't cut Mark Andrews, but then I have to look at cutting a Trey Benson, a Blake Corum.
You need the trade game. The game that you can he does great. You can trade him.
I wonder what Mark Andrews' trade value is right now in redraft. Can't be much.
No,
Like, who would you rather have for the rest of the year right now?
the
If
other
you had to make
guy,
a call right now, would you want Mark Andrews or Kyle Pitts?
Cal Pitts.
And that's not a good sentence to hear or feel. And I agree with you.
Yeah, it's
Not happy.
they're happy with him just blocking.
Right.
They don't really need it.
Well, and
Uh,
you have to make sure that you get Nelson Aguilar his targets,
Now I'm looking at Nelson Aguilar because going. I watch all the Baltimore games, my favorite team, but my memory is often rose-colored for what I want to
He,
hear.
you know what? Nelson Aguilar has been great for our golf league.
Oh yeah, I'm loving the golf league this year. I'm so much better at it than I was last year.
It takes a while. It takes a while to really get it.
And
It
other playoffs,
yes,
and so the playoffs is who has the worst record, right?
correct.
Okay, I'm doing good. Oh
I
yeah,
am.
one target, three targets, one target, one reception per game. This is great.
Yeah,
Nelson Aguilar.
he's a bedrock of my golf league team. Where, by
And
the way, oh, go ahead.
all lines are open. If any of the double-digit people watching this want to go ahead and ask a question, we'd love it.
I'm ready. I could just shoot numbers at you for a while too.
Tony gives really great fact and research-based advice, y'all.
Thank
That's
you.
why it's the
I
show
do
name.
packets every week, baby. I do packets of information. Um, I do want to flex real quick on my golf league team. I am currently 0-3,
Oh,
which is
nice.
good in case you aren't following. And I have 60 less points than anybody else.
Oh, wow.
50. I only have 59 less points than the person who scored the second least points, which is Evan Hoovler.
Nice. I'm getting it this year.
It's been a lot of fun. I will say this: so we start nine players a week, and we've had 3 weeks. So I've had 27 players. So let's do a little math. I have 139.94 points divided by 27 starts. My players are getting an average of 5.18 fantasy points per game. You'll love to see it.
That's solid. I'm hurting at quarterback. I have Caleb and Aaron Rodgers. I picked 12th, and everybody else picked quarterback. So
Yeah.
gotta figure that out.
I'm going spicy this week. I'm starting Trevor Lawrence over Gardner Minshew.
In golf league,
Yep.
that is spicy. What are their matchups? Trevor Lawrence is
Trevor
Houston.
Lawrence, Houston. Gardner Minshew's against Cleveland.
Okay.
I'm
Uh,
playing for turnovers.
Houston. Yeah. Well, Houston. I think Houston's defensive. Wait. Houston's disruption of their offensive line is going to cause whatever game plan Jacksonville has to fall apart.
Yes. Jacksonville is just lost, man. That's some sad stuff.
Yeah. It's people are pining for the halcyon days of Urban Meyer. All right, Connor's back. Welcome back. Welcome back, Connor. Standard man. Bench one RB. So start three. Achan, James Cook, David Montgomery, or Jonathan Taylor.
Good problem to have.
Yeah.
What? Um, in standard, ugh, it's to me it's between Achan and and James Cook actually, because J, JT's got the toughest matchup, but JT is going to get I think the most amount of touches. Monty's like not a pass catcher, but he's still going to get 15 carries. He got a chance for a touchdown, and in standard, touchdowns are worth just so much more. Um, ugh, Buffalo and Baltimore. I hate to say it, I'm probably benching Achan. I feel gross saying that, but so much of what Achan's done has actually been short catches. But if if your heart says Taylor, I don't think I don't think I disagree with you because I think that this matchup is just so tough. But they're gonna give him, 12, 15, 18 carries. I think this game's going to be low scoring, so I don't think there's going to be any sort of big leads. And like we said earlier, uh, Richardson's not running the ball, so it's
Yeah.
Taylor running.
Pittsburgh could be a bloodbath for that offense.
Yeah, yeah. It's gonna. I think that might be our lowest scoring game of the week. Let's see. I love standard for the touchdown value. Oh, get points per first down. Okay, okay. That might actually push me closer towards starting Achan over Cook.
Yeah, same. David Montgomery and Jonathan Taylor are going to use those first downs.
Yeah,
They're the guys their team looks to for that. That's their role.
right,
That is not Achan's role
right,
or Cook's role.
correct. So yeah, give me. I hate to say it, give me Taylor and Monty and James Cook, but H. It's between Achan and Cook for me. Like I mean, really, the Bears defense is a really tough rush defense, and Taylor blew up. And if you rewatch the game, there's actually he left a lot of meat on the table. Trey Sermon ran in for a touchdown, and um, Taylor missed a wheel route catch that he might have taken 60 yards.
I
So
remember that.
he left a lot of meat on the bone, and he still crushed last week.
Yeah,
So I hate to say it because also not a huge not a huge JT guy. I mean, he's fun, he's good, but he's never been the most explosive guy, and I like watching explosive runs. Call me simple, if you must.
yeah, and I don't think Tyler Huntley's game plan is going to be dump off to backs. I think it's
Correct.
going to be, he's very Lamar Jackson. That's why he played for Baltimore. It's going to be read one, read two, take off.
Correct.
That's why they know how to run their offense, and it's not give this guy way too many options.
And right, and Raheem Mostert coming back this, as far as I know. I think the expectation is that Mostert's coming back. So, um, I think you bench Achan, which fucking sucks. He's one of my favorite plays this year.
Mostert, let me see. I guess they don't have to know. Yeah, we
Yeah,
don't know
Connor,
yet.
you're right. He tore up Chicago, and like I said, he could have done way more damage. Bears got real lucky in that game because of all the passes that Anthony Richardson has thrown way out of the way, that one was perfect. Maybe that's why he didn't catch it. He wasn't used to that.
Yeah. Plus, if if Jonathan Taylor just figured it out, he's the RB1 now, like we expect him to be. I'll feel really bad if he goes off my bench.
Yes,
I'll feel like I got too cute with it.
right.
And they're
I
not going to
think
beat Pittsburgh through the air at all for so many reasons. I think you
that is
viewers
correct.
know, like many of them.
Like secretly though, I'm gonna be real. Like, um, Joey Porter Jr. is turned into one of the best cornerbacks in football in a season.
Yep, good for him.
Shut down Drake London week one, shut down Cortland Sutton week two. Like he's been all over the place. Shut down Michael Pittman last week or 2 weeks ago. Not that Michael Pittman's done much.
Uh,
Yeah, I tier one wide receivers. If you could pull off like a James Cook for a Puka Nakua, a guy that's going to come back and be a solid like a difference maker.
yeah,
That that's
somebody is going to need running back now that
right.
can't wait on wide receiver. I like the odds. I like your odds pulling that trade
Yeah,
off.
especially is it I think it's next week that Philly's on bye or in 2 weeks. So like maybe you pull that trade and be like, look, AJ Brown's not coming back till after week 7. I'll give you James Cook now. And then when Tua comes back and Achan goes back to being dominant, like you've upgraded two positions essentially for one.
I'm worried about to pivot. I'm worried about Tony Richardson's mental game because he needs a get right game, and Pittsburgh ain't it.
Fortunately, like I said earlier, fortunately they play Jacksonville next week, and
Oh, that's right.
that to me is the like, all right, let's right the ship.
That is true. And then they play Tennessee, who I have not watched any tape on.
You're not
Tennessee's
missing.
they're not good. After that, okay. So he isn't officially in a hold then.
Yeah, he's a hold. I'm like I said, I'm benching golf for him next week with a better matchup. and like I would be happy to be spoiled for choice in that league. The only problem is that league that I'm in, the big money league, is point per completion and then minus a half point per incompletion. So guys that are inaccurate kind of fuck you.
Oh, I hate those.
And that's Anthony Richardson. Well, that's why I got Goff, and I have Goff and Amon Ra. So when you know when Goff completes a pass to Amon Ra, that's a 1.5 point catch or play for me.
Okay.
So I've given myself a wide receiver premium, but just on one guy. So we'll see if it holds because so far Goff has been very depressing, uninspiring.
Let me see here. What's this guy's floor looking like? Wow. Yeah, that floor is low. I've not thought much about Detroit.
Right, and every week, he's been like last year it was quarterback 8 in my scoring, quarterback 6 in my scoring because he'd go 35 for 45, and that's an extra, you know, 12 and a half points on top of whatever passing yards and touchdowns he gets. So we're just not having it this year. It's still early, but we'll see. I'm hoping we start to see a bit of a return to the mean over the next four, which is actually why I'm wearing my Hanshin Tigers hat today. Not because I'm balding, don't worry about that, but because the Hanshin Tigers were a Japanese baseball team that were cursed by a statue of Colonel Sanders,
The Curse of the Colonel. One of the best
which,
episodes of TH Fantasy.
thank you, which by the way has been broken. The
Broke it
Hanshin
last year.
Tigers have won. Yep, they won the Japan Cup last year, and the curse of the Colonel has been broken. So I'm wearing this hat so we can all break our curses, and fantasy will be good for all of us this week.
Solid. Um, I'm just revisiting the Detroit Arizona over under was like 45 and a half, and they scored 33 total points last week.
Yes, not good.
My goodness. All right. We're in the lull period
We
between
are
between people who get up early because they want to set their lineups and they're diligent, and people who wake up late or like in the last 5 minutes we're gonna get 100 questions.
per Jay Glazer. Members of the Bears offense met with offensive coordinator Shane Waldron to tell him they want to see more aggressive play calling from the offense. Caleb Williams, Cole Komet, Mercedes Lewis were some of the players that met with Shane Waldron. Is it good when 3 games into your tenure, you have your star players coming up to you and saying, "Get your head out of your ass, sir"?
That sounds bad. What's your take on Waldron as a Bears fan?
Okay, so you're a Ravens guy.
Yep.
You worship at the temple of counter runs
Hmm.
and misdirection runs,
Yeah,
and you've seen them,
RPO.
yeah, and you've seen them be successful. Struggle with Waldron is that he's not established the straightforward off tackle gap or interior runs to make it so that defenses have to respect that to create the mismatches on your counters and your reverses and your wide game.
That's why we went out and got Derrick Henry, so we could just go up the middle and not go three and out 5 times
Correct.
in order to get the RPO game going.
Correct. And so uh, the Bears, since they're not being respected up the middle, teams aren't playing them up the middle. And so when they do sweeps, when they do wide receiver screens, when they do fourth down speed options, the defense doesn't respect it. And I think as much as we hate Luke Getzey here in Chicago, he was much more willing to say, okay, it's 1st and 10. We're just going to take our biggest dudes and we're going to go right up the gut and we're going to get 4 yards and we're going to go to 2nd and 6. So if you have a rookie quarterback, 2nd and 6 versus 2nd and 10, different universe, man. So I want to see more because there's been a lot of plays where they have two tight ends and they just run up the middle and it gets 8 yards. And Evan, you're an educator, which means that when you see something that works, you look at the qualitative or quantitative data and say, okay, let's do more of this
The
because it
metrics.
works.
It's all metrics.
And so when someone does something and it works, and they say, yeah, but that says to me you're not doing a great job. Um, I want to see a better run game because that opens up the play action, which is Caleb, and I'm sure you've seen the deep ball for Caleb is a thing of beauty. And one of the best deep ball throwers in the league is Derek Carr, and we've seen the power that pre-snap motion and a good play action with a run game has done for Derek Carr so far this year. How
All
do you
right.
not see it?
I'm gonna need you to vamp for a bit. My wife is getting picked up for the airport, so I gotta say goodbye.
Totally get it.
Thank you. I'm gonna mute
Totally
my
get
mic.
it.
I'll be right back.
So of all the bands that have ever existed in the world, you can classify them into one of two types. There's bands that are Thin Lizzy, and there's bands that aren't. Now, the cool thing about Thin Lizzy is I feel like they're the representative of the boys. So they might not be the ones in charge of dictating when the boys come back to town, but when the boys do come back to town, Thin Lizzy's related. It's involved, right? Like they're committed to it. So in an economy that needs more of the boys returning to town, I feel like we need Thin Lizzy now more than ever. Rest in peace to Phil Lynott. Shout out to the greatest Irish rock band of all time. Way better than U2. If you think U2 is better than Thin Lizzy, unsubscribe immediately. Uh, don't bother me with any of your garbage. All right, let's talk some more about what we're looking at today. Denver and the Jets take the Jets. Cincy and Carolina take Cincinnati. Philly and Tampa Bay is, I think, a game that's a toss up. I think the Rams and Chicago are a toss up. I'm taking the Rams because I'm a Bears fan, which means I've been conditioned to hate myself. Um, New Orleans and Atlanta, I think, is also a toss up. I'm going to go with New Orleans here. Houston should dominate Jacksonville. I believe Green Bay beats Minnesota. Pittsburgh and Indianapolis. I think if you're watching that game, you're the loser. If you're watching Pittsburgh Indy, you lose that game. Jeff Crisco is about to watch San Francisco take out all of their demons on the New England Patriots. I believe we see Drake May at some point this week, not as a starter, but to come mop up the game. Game of the week for me, Washington and Arizona. I think that game's going to be a shootout. Kansas City and the Chargers is going to be ass. Cleveland and Vegas is going to be ass. We have a really good Sunday night football game this week, Buffalo and Baltimore. Katie, Buffalo or Baltimore, who wins? Sunday night football. Katie Steele, Buffalo Bills. Lock it in. Katie's lock of the week. Oh yeah, our last name is Steele. The Steele lock of the week. Okay, OJ, great question. Do you think Roshan playing more will improve the Bears? Might they end up benching Swift? DeAndre Swift is a better role player. Period. DeAndre Swift is a guy that you need to play with another back on the field. DeAndre Swift is a guy you line up in the slot, you motion into the backfield, pitches, sweeps, reverses, crosses. And if you don't have a good run game, there's no chance. I was big on Roshan in college before my favorite team drafted him, so I always worry that I'm going to say something I like about Roshan and I'm going to be told that I'm being a homer, which is my ultimate fear in life because I'm friends with Wally Ismail. So naturally, I'm terrified of being labeled a homer. Um, I think the move to Roshan is important, not for Roshan because it speaks to me like a change in offensive philosophy. And the philosophy I'm hoping they're changing towards is more of a straightforward run game and then more of a straightforward drop back game because Roshan is the best pass blocker on the team. So I think that says to me they're going to ask him to use his skill set more effectively. The more you see of Herbert and Roshan, the better this offense is. And to be honest with you, the more you see of Roshan and Herbert, the better Swift is going to be. His touches will go down, but his efficiency is going to go up. So I don't think Swift is someone that I'm ready to cut yet, but he's someone that I'm definitely not starting. I just want to see that role even out and make it more of a hey, he's going to get 12 high leverage touches, 6 of which will be targets or receptions. We might give him three regular handoffs and then maybe a reverse or a jet sweep in there. Um, but yeah, I'm excited for the improvement on the Bears offense if they use an actual running back instead of a gimmick running back. I was very anti the DeAndre Swift signing. If you're going to pay $24 million for DeAndre Swift, pay $5 million more a year and get Saquon. But I also don't think Saquon would be having the season he'd be having if he was on the Bears, which is uh, not great. Bears line is garbage, guys. Garbage. But most of those dudes were here last year and just used better in the run game. So the talent is there. The scheme is just not there yet. It's weird. It's not like they've had months to figure this out. But I don't think Swift will ever be benched. To answer your question, I think Swift will just be had his load changed to be more. Hey, you're a great component to this offense. I'm excited to see what they do with Keenan Allen this week. Is Shane Waldron smart enough to be like, well, let's just make sure Keenan Allen gets 8 targets, or is he gonna say, well, I don't know, the scheme's really here's my scheme. Let's hope he can run it. Um, I think Keenan Allen coming back is going to be huge. 11 targets. He had 11 targets in week one. That is good. He dropped a touchdown. That's not good. He's hurt. It's a bummer because he missed the last 4 games of the year with that heel, and the heel's hurt again. So obviously, I'm bummed because I don't think we'll ever get to see what a fully healthy Keenan Allen would look like on the Bears. But I still think that makes the offense better. So let's see. Still vamping. Let's talk a little bit more shit. Darnell Mooney. What the fuck? Darnell Mooney, guys. Sneaky. Target share 30% on Monday night almost. 15 targets over the past 2 weeks. 66 or more yards in back to back games. 91% route share. Darnell Mooney. Holy shit. He's good, folks. The Bears did not use him very well. They said, you're small and skinny. Let's put you in the slot. The Falcons are like, let's not do that. Way smarter. Demario Douglas, nice bounce back week opportunity this year, I believe. I think they're going to be down a lot. Demario Douglas is going to get their most targets. Jalen Polk looked like a sneaky guy that was coming on last week, and then before last week, and then nothing. Got nothing last week's garbage. That Jets game was a bloodbath. You got to like them rested up. Hopefully they've had extra time to prepare for San Francisco, so hopefully they're ready to go. They won't be. James Conner, big play this week. I think James Conner has a big week. Washington's allowed 6.4 yards per carry on man rushing concepts. That's 75% of what James Conner does. And they are one of the lowest teams in the league in seeing loaded boxes. League average is 20%. The Cardinals are at 12%. So Connor dominating red zone work. He's got 9 of the team's 11 red zone rushes. Washington allows the 5th most adjusted yards before contact per attempt this year. Every running back that's played against the Washington football team have had 15 or more fantasy points this week. Big James Conner week. Start anyone playing Washington. Start anyone playing Arizona. Monday night. I'm going Detroit over Seattle, and I'm going Miami over Tennessee. Even though that game is essentially a toss-up in Vegas, um, I don't think. I think Tyler Huntley makes the team look okay. I think Will Levis does something hilarious, and I still think Tennessee sneaks it out.
And I'm back. Thank you so much for taking all that vap time.
No worries. It was
This
a
is
great
one
time.
of
I talked about the
the
thin list.
one of the weirdest and most anxiety-inducing parts of my life. My
Where's the plane going?
my wife who has severe short-term memory loss, and her 80-year-old father fly to San Francisco together to get her brain scanned a million times.
Okay.
And neither me nor her mother, who are the controlling members of the relationship, can do anything. And it freaks us out to help them.
It is
So
really one of the most sobering experiences in humanity is to watch someone suffer and be unable to help. So we're
Yeah,
all just doing what we can, baby.
I actually that you reminded me. I learned a technique that I'll probably use a lot of the next 2 days from POW prisoners, where you make a room inside your mind that's just empty and blank, and you just live there. Like, uh, I did that when my twin sons were in the NICU, and I had literally no control over them. I was like, that was just terror for 6 straight
Yeah,
weeks, nonstop all day. So I'll be
yeah,
using that because I didn't have control. One of them wants to know why. Because I didn't have control. You know me. My biggest fear is not death or public speaking. It's not being in control of everything. Yeah, yeah. I did want you to stay alive. That is a great assumption. Yes.
um, yeah. I know that struggle, and
Thanks, OJ. Appreciate the good word.
with the way that Evan and I are both teachers, and with the way that teachers are now being evaluated, the new system, at least in Illinois, the way we're using it, we have to have so many of the parts of our lesson planning, assessment, and classroom procedure on the students. It's up to them to set those norms. And I'm like, you just gave a control freak the instruction to give up control.
Yeah, they've
Seems very
been
difficult.
they've been getting on, and all teachers are control freaks. That's why we're teachers, because
Correct.
classrooms need control. Like, it's our
Also,
job.
we peaked in high school and want to continue to live those days.
Well, I peaked in elementary school. That's why I teach it. But there's where I could never do that because I need control. My main job is controlling 30 10-year-olds,
Correct.
teaching the standards secondary.
Correct.
Secondary. We'll see if we get to that.
Right.
I
Let's put
just
out fires first.
they've been getting on me because I don't use the book. The math book has these step-by-step instructions. It's called Bridges, and it'll have like 40 steps to a lesson. And it never says what the point or what the standard is or like so uh I'll get to a point where I'll finally figure out, oh, this is what you're trying to teach, and I'll just abandon the book because I'm like, does anyone learn this? And there never has anybody learned it. I'm like, cool, we're gonna do it this way, my way, the right way.
Right.
So but they haven't had tests yet. Once the test scores come back, I'm like, see, like let me
Right.
just do it my way. I taught math to adults with math anxiety who hadn't learned since third grade, and I got them to pass like the GRE and the MCAT. So I'm like, this is
One of my buddies, Jeff, said the most important thing about math that I've ever heard as an English teacher. And my question was, why do astronauts need to be mathematicians? You're not going to be doing math on the plane, on the rocket ship, right? And so you're not going to go explore another planet and meet an alien, and they're not going to ask you to solve for X. And he said, well, when anyone asks you to solve for X, all you need to say is why. And I said, wow, that changes everything.
uh
So now that I think about math, I just think, why? Easy, easy peasy. Everything's done.
I
All
could
right.
talk about teaching math for days, but OJ's asked a very good question about Austin Kincaid prop.
So I am not, yeah, as you know, I am not a Dalton Kincaid guy. And I am what I am. It's all that I am. But I think, look, like the player props are one thing. What is Kincaid's line? Let me pull up my BetStamp account real quick, which is the sponsor of my podcast, BetStamp. Uh, Player props: Dalton Kincaid, receiving yards. Oh yeah, I mean, look, you can go to Sugar House, Bet Rivers, pretty much every major sports book that's not Fanatics. You're going to get Dalton Kincaid under 40 yards. So let's look at player profiler on Dalton Kincaid and see what we're doing here in terms of his production so far this year. So he's got so last week one. So he got 41 yards last week, and he had 33 the week before. What I like about the difference between weeks is he went 4 for 4 against Miami for 33 yards, but he had -8 air yards. Last week he had 3 catches on 5 targets for 41 receiving yards, but 44 through the air. So I'm starting to see a trend to pick it up a little bit. Um, all right, I'm going to give you some numbers here and tell me how this makes you feel about your Dalton Kincaid prop. Josh Allen has dropped back to pass 84 times this year. The routes run by his receivers. First, Mac Hollins with 64, but has a 7% target share. He's not, let's just ignore that. Second, second, Khalil Shakir with 61 routes. Keon Coleman and Dalton Kincaid are tied for third with 56 routes. Dawson knocks down at 37. Marquez Valdez Scantling, 31. Curtis Samuel, 27. So, not great. I don't
Uh,
mind taking a Kincaid over. I would rather rock with Shakir this week because Baltimore's going to give up a lot more production through the slot. However, um, I do believe that uh, since Baltimore has allowed 315 passing yards per game, you got to believe that there's a lot of opportunities in there for Kincaid to get 40 of those receiving yards. Let's look at Josh Allen's passing overs really quick because I think they give us a good idea of where we should set our expectations. Pass yards. Allen's lines are somewhere between 228 and 235. And I think that means that we can expect to see Kincaid to hit his over. So I think he'll do okay. If I was betting, see like Kincaid, if you were like season long, I'd say you got to start him because you have to, and the position's a fucking mess. But I think if I was betting lines, I think I'd go Shakir before I went Kincaid, and that's without looking at Shakir. Let me pull him up real quick.
and while Tony does that, I apologize for the bit of background noise that happened there. Uh, my father-in-law, who's a neurologist, was explaining football injuries to my son, so I didn't want to stop that. Like,
No, you
that's a
can't.
very important lesson.
You can't. So this game, if we look at it, we've got a point total of 46. Um, Baltimore are favorites, so you got to imagine if Vegas knows what they're talking about, which as someone that gets hosed by Vegas every week, Vegas knows what they're talking about. Um, Shakir at 48 and Kincaid at 30, high 30s, low 40s. I like them both. I like them both. Ryan, what would you do about Dalton Kincaid's prop this week, receiving prop at where'd you go, Dalton Kincaid? Uh, his receiving prop at 30, 39 and a half. What do you think against Baltimore? Ryan likes Shakir better than Dalton, a man after my own heart. So that's what we're about. I don't think Kincaid at 39 and a half is terrible, but just like Ryan said, I'm probably going Shakir over Kincaid. Thank you, sir. But
For me,
we got a
tight
question
end
earlier.
usage and touchdown scoring is so inconsistent. I don't want to act like I can predict any of that if I don't have
Yeah,
to.
it's gonna be weird. Um, Ryan, what's your favorite prop of the week? Your favorite over under of the week? Yeah, player prop. Ryan, big fan of the Josh Allen over 29 and a half rushing yards. Ryan really likes CJ Stroud over 1.5 pass touchdowns this week. And Ryan's big on big Marvin Harrison Jr. week as well. A Marvin Harrison touchdown. So hurry up, guys. We got 10 minutes to go before kickoff
They'll
of the
come.
early games. I'm ready to take on all comers here. Devonta are out. Yeah. Ooh, Ryan likes the Tampa money line to beat the Eagles this week.
Right.
Schultz, Ryan Dalton Schultz, Ertz or Parkinson? Schultz, my man. See,
Fields,
great minds think alike.
Fields versus Indianapolis or Rogers versus Denver?
Rogers.
Yeah.
Fields. Fields versus the Colts or Rogers. Ryan's also going Rogers.
Oh wow. All three votes in the Discord say Fields.
I think people still think that Fields runs better than he does because he hasn't run, like I said, 3.2 yards per carry on his scrambles. Yeah, I think this is a big Najee week this week. I think he's gonna get 20 fucking carries.
I worry that Indianapolis will just collapse into itself like a dying star, and like Chicago will send out their second stringers.
Turn into a black hole.
Yeah,
I mean, they're turning into a free space team pretty quick.
yeah.
Start anyone against the Colts. Start anyone against Washington. Start anyone against Arizona. Start anyone against Carolina. Those are our free squares so far this year. More
Well,
more will become available as the year
although
goes
that
on.
tanked half of the remaining eliminators last week. We picked the Raiders.
Yeah, yeah, Ryan, listen to this. So the football absurdity, um, what do you call it? The survivor pool. It's
Yeah,
done. We already have a winner. In we after 3 weeks. Yeah.
21 teams.
Oh, you know what? All right, Ryan. Joe Mixon's out. I'm not even going to answer this because I want Ryan to tell you. Cam Akers, full PPR, Cam Akers or BTJ? BTJ. We
Yeah,
got two BTJs over here.
the BTJ killer.
Yep. Yeah. AK, glad you're here. Good to see you, friend. We're all BTJ over here. Cam Akers for floor, but man, BTJ's been killing it this year. What was his preseason receiving yards prop? Wasn't it like 625? 725. He's probably halfway there. You need one you need one play for BTJ to do better than Cam Akers.
Very true.
Or as Jeff Crisco calls him, scam fakers, ladies and gentlemen. Scam
Jeff
fakers.
Crisco is also trying to get the BTJ killer going.
Yeah, I do love BTJ Killer. Bind Torture Jr. I did take the under on Kansas City and LA, but I might also take the under on Pittsburgh and Indianapolis because yuck.
I wish I could take the under in fantasy and be like, okay, that's the projection my team's gonna score. I'll bet you so much money they don't.
Oh man, when you can bet on your own team's fantasy performance, that's when the future has truly arrived.
That's when it's full meta.
Yeah, I don't give a shit about Cybertrucks. Let me gamble on my own fantasy team. Because I don't know who's going to blow it for me, but someone's going to blow it for me,
Someone's gonna blow it. Yeah. Some maybe the whole team. They're all pitching.
right?
Good job. Nice job.
Uh,
What are you and Ryan gonna eat?
Ryan, what are we going to eat? Ooh, we were thinking about. Oh yeah, we were going to. Katie's going to make some brats.
Sick. How's she gonna make them?
We have a grill. We have Ryan actually gave us the grill, and we're going to dust it off for the first time and use it. Ooh,
AK
that's
has a new one. He says Kraft versus Mini, Conklin versus Denver, Otten versus Eagles, Fant versus Lions for Titan Stream. Full PPR.
well. The list is Tyler Kraft versus Mini, Conklin Denver, Otten Philly, Fant Detroit. We are Tyler Conklin pilled over here this week, my friends.
Wasn't he the mid kind of
Yeah, those
shitty?
Ryan mid tier kind of shitty tight end of the week.
You have a good one too, OJ.
Of the week. Bye, OJ.
Boy, that's not an enviable place to be though. Starting any of those guys.
Yeah,
Well, I guess I'd want to start the tight end of the week. Never mind. Forgot about
we
that.
kind of hinted towards it earlier. Patrick Sertan on Denver is going to be shadowing Garrett Wilson, which means Rodgers is going to have to be throwing to his second and third options, which are Tyler Conklin, Alan Lazard, Brees Hall, So I think this is probably a not great game for Garrett Wilson, but I think the ancillary players are your best bets.
And I'm
Never a
just
huge
checking.
Tyler Conklin backer. You took the over on Pittsburgh Indy? You're a madman. You're a madman. Who's going to score? Darnell Washington, 2 touchdowns.
Pittsburgh's defense is going to score 3 touchdowns.
At this rate, would you be surprised?
No.
I don't doubt it. Like one of the things that people don't know is if you didn't watch the whole game, Anthony Richardson had another ball that he fumbled that they called back.
I watched the whole game, unfortunately.
Six
I did.
touchdown parlay. Ryan Edgecombe, 6 touchdown parlay. Zach Moss, Brees Hall, Aaron Jones, Nico Collins, Najee Harris, Saquon Barkley. I love it.
What's that pay? What odds did you get?
So Ryan put $3 down, $2 to win 113.
Okay.
Ryan loves the big play.
Yeah, the
Yes,
30 team parlay.
there you go. Akers was floor, BTJ ceiling, but like that floor for Akers is so fucking low, man. I'm gonna be
Yeah. For a second, I had Dare Ungabale in because I'm like, there's no way they don't bench Akers.
right. No, he'll play, but he Akers was bad last week. He just caught a touchdown pass, which bailed out his whole day.
Akers is a bad football player.
He is. He's
He's
not
not a
good.
fun
He
watch.
he was a lot of fun, and then he got hurt. Where is?
That's why I like the Schultz play this week. Although I don't think he's mid. He's ranked, like, so I wouldn't
Yes.
call him like he's ranked quite high.
This up. Yeah. Is Houston a good matchup for BTJ? Not explicitly, but he's a better like. I think he's a better matchup than Jacksonville is for Akers. Yeah, we've had deers coming right up to the deck the last couple days.
I've seen the photos.
Oh, I'll drop them in the Discord everywhere. I'll post them on the internet. That's how you know it's real. It's on the internet. It's on Twitter. And you know what? If Akers is your guy, go with Akers, baby. But I'm playing ceiling. Jacksonville
Also,
is desperate.
Trevor Lawrence goes to BTJ an absurd amount against cover three or cover four, which is like over half of what play calls.
Let's go, Evan. That's what I'm talking about. Let's talk scheme.
I occasionally look at tape.
Cover three scheme discussion. Let's go. So yeah, I think we're good, right? We got 2 minutes to kick off.
Yeah, didn't
I
have a
agree. AK.
last minute flood like we did last week, which is good. Last week it was crazy.
Yeah, this is gonna
We'll
be a
just
good week.
let's go
Best of
one
luck.
more minute and wish you all luck in your fantasy endeavors.
Hanshin Tigers, guys. Remember, feel the Hanshin Tigers. You're gonna break any negative streaks this week. Power of positive thinking.
Yeah, that's a good point. AK BTJ is just more fun.
Yeah,
Watching Cam
you're
Akers just makes
watching.
you sad.
Right, you're watching Cam Akers get 14 rushes for 29 yards and hope he falls into the end zone.
Exactly. All right. Any
I,
final comments, Tony, before I let you go with your guests?
I think this is going to be a good week. I think everyone that came in and asked a question is going to win their most important league this week. And yeah, I think that's what we got.
All right. Thanks for guesting. Thanks for guesting for Jeff. Really appreciate it.
Of course, it's
You
been.
always have the
I'm
insight.
going full all about Eve this week because I wrote for Walker yesterday. I'm filling in for Jeff today, so I'm slowly working through my process of usurping the entire company.
If you can have it. Here, take my identity. Steal my
Fair
identity.
enough.
Somebody else be me for a day. It's hard.
Let's
All
trade
right.
Jeff.
We